Here's another helpful video for anyone who is planning on tiling the floor of a standard bathroom, something like this, where we have a sink with a cabinet, a toilet, and a bathtub. And this is usually going to be around 8 foot long and 5 foot wide. 5 foot wide because that's the standard width of most bathtubs. And this could be between 7 and 9 feet. In our example, we're going to go with 8 feet. First thing I want to point out is that it's going to be more common to remove the toilet and tile around the toilet flange or the drain flange than to tile around the toilet. So we are going to be focusing on this area. We're going to take the toilet off. In the bottom of a cabinet, you might have a toe kick underneath the cabinet. You might not have one on this side. But we're going to draw it in anyway to where we do have one going all the way around the cabinet. And this is usually just an area where you can stand up. Without it, you would have a difficult time. It would be uncomfortable for you to stand up against the cabinet here and use the sink. And these are things that the architects have figured out. And you don't have to worry about it. So here's the area we're going to be tiling around the toilet drain flange, and the base of the cabinet is now going to be represented by this here. And in some cases you might have a doorway, and I drew this all the way out here. I think this is about 3 inches. It could be 3.5 inches, but this line will vary on your project depending upon where you want to stop the tile. You might want to stop it in the center underneath the door. That's where I like to stop it, or around there, depending upon where the tile layout will work out. So this actually could be something you could use to reduce the amount of smaller pieces of tile by simply moving it from maybe this line here to the middle or to the edge. In our first example of the tile layout, we are going to start with a full tile in this corner here, and then go all the way across, and then all the way, keep everything in proportion. And we are going to end up with some smaller pieces, but these pieces, if you remember, are going to be underneath the toe kick area of the cabinet. So this is like an awesome place to have small pieces of tile. You know, you're not going to really be able to see it. They're not going to be as visible as they would be over here or over here. So this one here has 26 tile cuts, and that would be, I just counted each piece of tile that needed to be cut. That would be all of these here, all of this to here, and then of course I didn't count the tiles that needed to be notched around the drain pipe here. So here's our first example. In the second example, we're going to start over here at this edge. So we don't need to cut any of these tiles till we get down to here. And then we're going to go all the way across, cut the tiles in the back, around here. And here we ended up with 22 tile cuts. This is probably the method I would go with. I almost always start at this corner in this particular design because these tiles are going to be behind the toilet. These tiles here, if they're cut, are either going to be underneath the toe kick of the cabinet, or they're going to be up against the edge of the cabinet. Not going to be as noticeable. You're going to have a toilet here. And then anything that's cut here is going to be underneath the toe kick. So that's going to be fine. And then this right here, you could simply eliminate this entire row here if it worked out to where the door was close to the center. Saving you even another row of tiles that would need to be cut. So here, this would be probably my favorite method used for doing something like this. And of course, you can see that we have reduced the amount of tile cuts. And here, we are going to just simply move the tiles down so that we can start here and go this way. 26 tile cuts again around here. The small cuts here I really don't like. I don't like to have this. I like this a lot better. And a lot of times when you walk into a bathroom, you're looking over here a lot more than you're looking over here. So if you're looking to see a full tile or something that's not small, and again, this is personal preference. If you don't mind this, and this is what you want, it's the same amount of cuts to trim out this as it is to do the one over here, go for it. And any idea here, I don't want to sway you into saying, hey, you got to use one of these methods or not. But I do need to point out my reasoning behind the methods. Now in this example, I went ahead and started with my first tile here so that I could have full pieces around the bottom of the cabinet. And I didn't cut these out here, but wanted to give you an idea that these tiles right here are going to have to be cut a little bit. You know, let's just say about 1/4 of an inch all the way across. These are going to have to be cut. These are going to have to be cut. And then, of course, these are going to be cut a little bit different. And you're going to have to cut the front of these. They're not going to be full tiles. So again, this is starting from here and going out this way. So 27 tile cuts. And then, of course, this gives you a full tile here, what appears to be a full tile here, and then probably about a half tile across here. And then these tiles, again, are behind the toilet. So not going to be a big deal. Now in this one here, I went ahead and ran the tiles underneath the cabinet. And this isn't a common form of construction, but I've done it myself before to save cutting the tiles on certain tiles that were difficult to cut. You can't beat this one. 14 tile cuts, and if you get rid of these tiles here, you're going to have even less. So you're going to have just a few that need to be cut. You're going to start at this corner here. You'll have full tiles in both directions. You'll cut these tiles and this corner tile and this corner tile. Eliminate this row if it's going to work out for you. And that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles that you would need to cut. And this would be except for the toilet flange. So again, just throwing something out there. The reason why this isn't done is because usually when you go to remove the flooring, if I go to remove the tile, but I'm going to keep the cabinet, it's going to create a mess over here. So a lot of times people tile up to the cabinet and not underneath the cabinet, which of course provides us with another method of construction. So personal preference, you want to do that. A few less tile cuts, go for it. In our next example here, I'm just kind of centering everything so that it doesn't look like we have small pieces anywhere. So it kind of looks like I'm almost just coming off of the door jamb here. If you remember, the door jamb's over here. Kind of looks like I'm going off here. And the smallest pieces are going to be over here. And this row right here will be able to be eliminated. So just kind of using the larger area, give you a view of what it would look like. And of course, here's what it would look like after we cut all of the tile. So small pieces underneath the cabinet. Remember, this is the cabinet line here. And you can always add some more pieces in here to, if the cabinet's not sitting on top. If you don't feel like it's sitting on top of something, just put some more scrap pieces in here. They could be the scrap pieces you've cut from here. And you're going to have a smaller or a gap here. So let's just say I think I ended up with something that was almost 3/8 of an inch. And it'll be a grout line, a thicker grout line than our normal 1/4 inch grout line. Once you put your base trim, your wood trim that's going to go up against the wall for the floor trim, when you put that on, it should cover almost all of this gap. So reason why I'm providing you with this example here is to give you an idea. Let's just say you lay out your tile and you have a 1/2 inch gap here. And you're like, okay, everything works out great except for the 1/2 inch gap I got. I don't want to see that much grout. Well, you can always use larger floor trim. Get some floor trim that's a 1/2 inch wide and then put it around these areas. You're only going to have floor trim in this area and this area. So make it a little larger and that should solve your problem. And of course, with this method here, you're going to have 15 tile cuts and 10 more if you are going to cut around the cabinet. So 15 total going under the cabinet, 25 if you're going to butt up against the cabinet. So another idea. Now let's go ahead and take a look at my original one. I said that I like. This is the most common one that I use. And just kind of wanted to say that you're going to have to deal with certain things like this little piece here. You know, can I deal with this? You know, yes, I can deal with this because the rest of the floor looks great. You know, can I deal with one thing in the corner? Maybe if some small tiles over here. You know, maybe I got to, I'm going to need to have a 3/8 of an inch grout line here. I can put some trim around. You know, now I'm not suggesting, you know, when you get, hey, I got an inch, I'm gonna just fill it with grout. I'm not suggesting that. Okay, you're gonna have to go and cut some small pieces in. Just make sure that you've checked everything out. You've laid the tile out, and you've kind of got an idea of what is going to look the best to you. You know, so again, this one right here is probably the standard one that every tile guy is going to use. They start in this corner right here. These tiles are behind the toilet, not going to be a big deal. These tiles that are next to the toilet usually aren't going to be a big deal. Tile that goes underneath the cabinet, probably not going to be a big deal. Even the tiles that are up against the wall here or in this area here, biggest concern you're going to have with these tiles is them popping out if there's some type of a problem with the adhesive or the foundation or the flooring, something like that. So that would be it. This is going to be a higher traffic area. You're walking in this area here, which would be the reason why someone might want to have full tiles in this area and then cut the tiles up against here. So that's it for the video. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope it made sense, and I hope it helps you with your next project. And if it does, you know what to do. Hit the old thumbs up button or leave a comment and let us know whether or not this video was super awesome or just awesome.